Hey kids, it's Mark Miller. Roy's with me. How you doing, Roy?
Indeed. I'm doing good, my friend. How are you?
I'm pretty good. You know,
Excellent stuff.
we did some amazing work. I think on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, some cool stuff. Let me just initialize player data here. Drop that thing down. We'll get over to the code, and I'll do a little bit of show and tell on what we accomplished. And hide the scroll. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Let's get some Coders music playing here. There's Fred over there. Fred's a little bit further in than I recall him before. Let's take him, move him a little bit out further out off to the side there. So we created 4 attributes, right? I think you might have been there with us when we created those attributes on Thursday.
Let me think now.
Let's go take a look at that.
Maybe.
Down here in Google Helper, we created, we really have, hold on, name attribute. Right, this is the abstract class. So this is the abstract. I'm going to throw this in its own folder, I think.
Looking at this, Mark, I'm going to say you probably did this just after I left.
Okay. So yeah, this is some cool stuff. So we'll call this like a base class like that. Throw that up here like that. And so the column name attribute is this abstract ancestor class. Descending from that, I've got column attribute that descends from that. And indexer attribute descends from that, both having the ability to specify a column name. Okay, and the whole.
You're getting some strange interference on your microphone. I wonder, is it knocking occasionally?
It might be. How's that? Is that better? Let me know.
Seems good so far.
Check, 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 check. It's a little low. Looks like my volume's a little low. Let me crank it up, 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 up. Okay, there we go. Check. Yeah, maybe a little too loud. I tend to get a little loud sometimes on here. So the column name attribute is the ancestor class indexer, and column both descend from that. And if we go tap to next reference, we can see that I'm using indexer on the property name of creature.
Okay, yes.
Creature's the ancestor to character. And now what that allows me to do is use this matching column name as the indexer for the data, which means I get to say, here's where my unique columns are. We were talking about this, I think, before you left.
That's right. This is necessary because we're now considering the idea of writing back to a sheet, and we need to be very careful that we don't overwrite the wrong row. So we need a way of identifying that row, and it turns out that some of your sheets have unique data in a column and some of them don't. So we were looking at ways of discovering which is the correct row to go and write data back to, and this is evidently what you came up with afterwards, is the ability to label a particular, I'm assuming you're going to use that attribute in the DTO, in the model, so to speak, to indicate here be the field with the uniqueness.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've shut down the app so I can make changes to it. Let's go over into the spell data, which is somewhere here in my D&D core, and we'll do it in the spells, and we'll get the spells to save themselves out. Where are the spells? Why am I not seeing spells? Core classes, maybe? No. Well, I do know that all items has an all spells. And I do have an update. Is this update called anywhere? When I call update, I just passed that one spell in. Interesting. Okay. So let's go to spell. Let's go find out where spell is. Where are you hiding? players, spells. Interesting. Okay. That doesn't feel right to me. Well, I've got weapons and spells. Players can have weapons and spells. I guess that makes sense. I'm almost wanting to pull all that out, but anyway, that's where spell is. So spell's in here. If we want to save the spell out, then what we can do is we can say, well, let's go figure out what properties we want to be able to edit and save, and also what my indexer is on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the name and I'm going to add indexer on it, like that. Well, I think I'm missing the Google Sheets reference is what I think is happening here. Let's do this and then Control dot it. There you go, using Google Helper. So now this is the indexer for the spell name, but let's look at the spell spreadsheet. Spells spreadsheet, and I want to, it's not the same case. See, there's a lowercase there and an uppercase here. So here's where that other property comes in handy. See what I'm going to do? That's how I map. So the data in here is going to map to the data in the name column, and it's going to be an indexer. But it's not the only one, because I need to differentiate for at least one spell in here, which has two identically named ones, I think. Is it Melt Minute Meteors?
That sounds plausible.
Yeah, it's got two of these. I don't know what that cast colon thing that we saw inside of there was. With Dragon's Breath, I need to look at that. I have a feeling it's not used yet. Hey, Copperbeard is here.
Copperbeardy is in the house.
Welcome, Copperbeardy.
Welcome, Copperbeardy.
I hope you're doing well.
Well, I figure you must be doing well here. Mr. House Guy says sunflower is still growing. Oh, I hope that his Coder sunflowers is still growing. I hope so too.
It's true. That for a little while.
What'd you say?
We've not heard about that for a little while.
Yeah,
given recent weather, might be doing quite good.
There could be bad news too. We might not want to talk about that on the show. So I need something else, and not too bad. The sunflowers are a bit deceased. Yeah, okay. That's what I thought. Okay.
That happens occasionally.
So we need to use a second differentiator.
Mm-hmm.
Ritual is the next thing that changes, but casting time. Oh wait, hold. Sorry, my eyes were up here and here. I need to be here and here. So the next thing that changes is the casting time. That's kind of what I'm feeling like playing with.
Just so you know, Mark, the second of those is hidden behind Fred. Maybe a change in height for one of the rows would allow both on screen or a scroll.
I can do that.
It's a little bit tricky. There we go. Good. So yes, now the distinction here is that one is an action and the other is a bonus action.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at there. Action and bonus action. And that might be the second differentiator. Or I could create a column called index or index or something like that, but I'd have to save that all the way to the spell, right? I could do something like that. This is not bad, I think. But there may be spells, hold on. There's like a spell, like a crazy spell down here. That has all kinds of additional stuff beyond it. It's the way I can recognize it is it's giant in terms of its size. Its column or its row size is tall, but I'm not seeing it here. It's like something storm, as I recall. No, Storm of Vengeance. Chitsum's in the house. Yeah, these are not additional. These don't appear to be. It just produces additional effects on your turn, but they're not. They don't even cost anything. So I was thinking, well, maybe this would be additional, would break into additional pieces. I can do the casting time. I think I can do that for now to identify Mel's minute meteors. And yeah, let's look at that. We'll look at that as an option. It might make more sense to give it an indexer. I don't know. What do you think, Roy? I add a single field all the way across.
The challenge is that there's no guarantee that any future version of this problem will give us the same flexibility, that we'll have different length actions in those cases.
Exactly. Oh, there's some action going on the show here. No, we're going down an alien guy. Oh, I think that's a little alien guy that gets away from Legendary Moo and that tries to get away. I don't know, maybe it's the same guy.
Sorry for that particular one guy.
Yeah, that's the same guy.
And the brunt of the universe's payback.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. So should I?
Because the action has its own purpose already. It has that thing, and it's not guaranteed to be, any more unique. I mean, there's a statistically higher chance that two things will in combination be unique.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, I can then add a third if I have to get to that point, right? So it's like I'm like, well, okay.
So at which point your only concern is knowing that has happened. Yeah. So that if you ever have more than one thing returned by, should we say, the current combination of uniqueness, you know that there isn't enough uniqueness being specified, and we kind of have to halt any attempt to save. But
I'm not checking that right now.
No.
But right now, I'm like, when I find the matching piece, I say, go, go, go! We got it. That's it.
Destroy whichever the first thing is in favor of this new data.
Yeah. Hey, it's the programmer's fault. He didn't specify, the correct indexer or something. I don't know. So yeah, you want to throw another field in here off to the side. What do we want to do on this, Roy? I've never been so ambivalent and indecisive in my life, I feel.
Yeah.
So as if I don't belong here. All right. Okay, so let's... Yeah, I guess I'm going to throw an indexer field in here. I think that's what I'm going to do. It's a lot of work all the way through. It's a lot of work. That's the problem. Hold on a second.
The trouble is, you've got how many rows have we got here? Some 200 or more?
No, we've rows. Yeah, we got like about 300, I think.
Right. So if we put like a number in here for every row, they have to be unique numbers if we're going to still use only one column as our indexer. Yeah. Okay. Which means now you're into maintaining that value.
I
making sure that it has no duplicates.
Google Sheets has a Google Sheets indexer column or unique column. I bet you they've got something like this.
I wonder, could you write one of those, but have a column ahead of this, or after, I suppose it doesn't matter where, which is a calculated field instead. And it is the sum of the existing name and the indexer value if you happen to have created one. And then we make that column a new property and declare that to be the indexer.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because that way you don't have to maintain 200 odd lines of indexer. It's calculated for you. It will always be equivalent to the name unless you have this extra value in the sort of other source column. Sounds a bit complicated the way I explain it, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure I've done a good job of that.
I'm trying to see if there's a way to get it, to just specify like a formula or something like that to get a unique value. The index formula.
What does that do for new values at that point?
What's the index formula? Wait. The opposite is evaluated from the very first cell. This sounds like it's just calculating the offset. Wait, what's going on? Feeling wet, Rory. Whoa! What was that? Blackbird did not miss the iceberg.
You must like them. Close personal relationship with the iceberg.
Maybe I'm searching for the wrong thing. I want to say generate Google Sheets, generate a unique ID. That looks good.
Okay.
Here's unique ID values. What's unique ID? App Sheet. Looks like I'm in the wrong thing, not Google Sheets. Okay. Create custom unique IDs in Google. I don't think I like that.
So are you hoping to use whatever feature you find to do a one-time creation of unique IDs that are, shall we say, slightly more or better than a sequence, counting number, so that there isn't an inherent need to redistribute every time you make a new one?
Kind of. Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do.
So let's presuppose that that function does exist somewhere and that you use it, and that, hey, 200 values now have all legit stuff. Does that have any effect? I mean, okay, so in a source list like this, where you will always do your editing pretty much in the sheet, that works fine. So you can add a new spell type and away we go, fill in a value, that's good. But you were also looking previously at, I believe it was a sequence of effects that would happen one after the other. Now, we don't store those in sheets at the moment, but what I'm saying is that if you were to ever create a new item outside of sheets in what had previously come from a sheet, how would it save back, like an insert? Because at the moment I think we're considering updating rows only. We're not adding new ones, or for that matter deleting them.
Oh, you're right. We're only updating. Yeah, we're only adding new rows.
Now we might only need updating. That's great. If we do, then you're absolutely right. We just create these IDs in some sensible fashion. We need to make it easy for the person manually editing the sheet to introduce a new value. That's fine. And then we kind of got job done, because we'll only be updating things that already exist. But if we find ourselves with the need to add a row to a sheet, then that mechanic doesn't work quite so well, because we'll have a blank value, or some need to similarly generate a new unique ID.
Yeah, we will not need to add values inside our app. I'm like really sure about that, at least for now. I am. The code is only about updating, right? We added the code so that it would find the right cell. In fact, when we're updating the cells, Rory, we are not. We're only writing the value out if it changes, and if it changes, we're only writing that cell value out. So we make several calls to write the cell out if several cells have changed. But this is not primarily an editing app. It will be while we're kind of maybe designing things, or after we're done playing the game, we'll do a save, and your new gold and your hit points will go out. While we're creating the special effects for the spells, we'll be writing data out. But that's just going to be, we're going to be sending out the event handler, which is a cell change. So it's all updating all the time. Is essentially what we've got here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the safest way out of this to make this unique. Because spells, it's a unique spreadsheet. Spells because it does have, at least for Melf's Minute Meteors, it's got two of these. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create. Whoops, not there. I don't want it there. It's Z. I'm going to put it pretty early on here next to name. So we're going to call this insert one left. We're going to call this our index. And only for Melf's Minute Meteors am I going to do anything. I'm going to leave it empty all the way across the board. So I'll only use it when I need to. Okay, and so the purpose of this is going to be for when I have two to differentiate one from the other. Okay, and we're going to go to this useful for differentiating different versions of the same spell that can be cast at different times. Use one or more to indicate the different version. Leave empty for 0. Okay? For an index of 0. All right. So that's what we're going to do. All right. So we've just done that. Now we've got to go over to our couple things we have to. This now has got a rippling effect here. We need to go into our spell DTO. So let's come over here and we're going to say spell DTO. And we need to create that index.
Yep.
And that's got to be a string because I'm allowing it to be empty. Okay?
Indeed.
So I've got that. Let's do a tab to next reference on the name. And let's come in here and call this index. And I'm going to make that a string too. I don't care if we're using it as a number there, but I don't care. I don't need to ever really convert it to a number. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to change this to index. So the downside is, hold on, let's keep going through that tab to next reference on that. Let's make sure I've cleared all these up. I'm looking for a clone kind of thing. If I'm copying over the name for a clone on the spell DTO, looks like I'm not. Now I got to do the same thing over here. Am I ever doing it here? Here we go. There's the clone right there. That's what I was looking for. We need to make sure that our index is cloned as well. And I think that's probably it. I think. I might also, I noticed that there was a function that we were tabbing when we were tabbing through to get the spell. And we might, hold on, DTO here. This looks like a place also. Oh no, wait, this is a player action shortcut DTO. I think we're okay. All right. Get matching spell. I'm wondering, so get matching spell in player goes through our known spells. I might have other problems with regards to this. I think what the way we currently resolve Melf's minute meteors is there's a function that gets a list of spells back, and we just check to see which one's available. I'm going to wait till there's a problem before I make that code change. So it looks like those are...
In the code itself, in the running code, as opposed to the loading and saving code, this is already working to a degree. You can still get a spell by its name.
Yes.
Simply as you say, because they shouldn't be both active at the same time. And presumably if they were, we're just going to get the first one in the list. So would we argue that it's working to the degree it needs to be working?
Yes.
And the introduction of this index doesn't affect the working of it. It is, again, purely a load save mechanic.
Yes, but in order for the load save to work, I had to make sure, I had to find the clone. Because that clone is kind of a tricky thing. Because if I don't clone it and I make a clone of a spell and then I try to save it, I might save to the wrong one if I don't clone that indexer. So, all right. So I think we're in good shape with that. I'm just hitting escape to jump back through all the places I tabbed through. And back over here at spell. And then there's so I've got an index here and an index for name, both of these are my indexers. So that's going to identify the unique value. Next, what do I want to save? Well, actually, before I do that, I've got to come up here and I've got to give it 2 more attributes up at the top. I have to give it a sheet name attribute. And this is going to be on spells, I think is the name of the sheet. Yep, right down here. There it is, right there. You can see it just above Cornelia. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can get that any bigger. Can't quite. There it is right there, spells. So that's the name of that. That's the sheet name. Nope, sorry. The tab name is spells. The sheet name is D&D. Tab name. Tab name is spells. So now I've hooked up spells, so now I can just pass a spell instance. I don't have to convert it to a DTO, right? And now the last thing I have to do is specify which fields in here I want to be able to save. And all the events I want to be able to save. So I'm going to come in here and say column, and we're going to pass the name of the column in. And I think this is going to be, I think these all are lowercase. So this is on cast, I think. Let's double check that. On casting, available when, on cast, yep. All right, so these are all lowercase. Looks like to me. On spell, all of those.
Is it a fair generalization that in every case it is an initial lowercase plus the same case as the thing you're talking about?
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
So I'm wondering, rather than pass it in as an explicit value, could you just have it read the thing it has and lower the value of it? Or lower the initial value. So I am the column attribute on the onReceived string property, and therefore I will calculate that there should be a column with a lowercase o on received as my destination, rather than being explicitly told it.
I could make my columns case insensitive. Right now the code is case sensitive matching. I could, but realistically, would I ever have 2 different columns with the same name but different case?
Well, my argument is more that it lowers your maintenance here. So instead of pasting the column attribute and then changing the parameter, you can just paste the column just into every location exactly the same.
Yeah, okay. I'm with you.
I'm trying to make your life easier, mate. I don't know that I manage to do that all the time, though, because I am arguing for more code in other places.
That's all right. We're going to do that. We'll make it so it's case insensitive. Okay? So that's what we'll do. Because I think it's a realistic argument that for column matching, the columns you would never have the same name case in the same sheet. All right, so we're going to do that. We'll make that change. Now what that means is that when we go to save or update, it's going to check to see if the data in the on cast column, first it's going to find out what row we're in. It's going to use this to determine the row that this spell came from. Okay. Yep. Then once it matches those 2 up, then it's going to go use this attribute to go find out what data's changed, and whatever it is, we're going to go write that out. So that's what's going on there. So let's go fix our code to do the column matching. That's, I think, over here in Google Sheets. Look for what column attribute? What you got for me? Get column name. Not what I'm looking for. Well, actually, if I tab the next reference here, I can see where it's being used. Get column index. Here we go. I think this is the place. Right? I think there's a code rush thing to use string compare. So we can just go like this. And then we can, I think one of the options here, is there a case insensitive option here? Ordinal. Uh-oh. Always scary when he comes. What's he going to do today? I need that line. I need that line too. These are all good lines of code, Rory.
Yeah.
It's Coding Gorilla kids in the house.
Welcome, Coding Gorilla.
I feel like there's probably an old ODBC driver that does all this somewhere. Shut up. Shut up, Coding Gorilla. You be nice. Sure. Okay, this show is called Reinventing the Wheel with Mark Miller.
Yeah.
Reinventing
absolutely.
every wheel that's ever been built with Mark
An
Miller.
exploration into how wheels work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Code archaeologists.
So I think that's what we're going to do right there. If, compare, ignore case. What's the ordinal mean? This means binary sort rules and ignoring the case of the strings being compared. Okay, got it. So the ordinal is just for sorting if I want to get a number there back from it. So I think that's it. Get column name. Let's see.
What's
Is it
the
used?
previous parameter being used?
Like that, Rotates Alpha. Better follow Rotates Alpha. I'm going to check out his stream. Boom. What'd you say, Roy? Hey,
I was wondering, because we eliminated a parameter from our own column attribute, we must have been using that parameter now, and instead of getting it, we need to derive it from the member that we are attributing ourselves to.
It already does that. It already does that.
Oh, so this was just an override possibility, was it?
It's an override because it was a non-case sensitive match. So that allows us to have a property of any name and map it to a column header of any text. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think I could even do it with a space in it. I haven't tested that yet, but I think I could even map to column names with spaces. If I was, serious about, putting this Google helper out into the world, I might do that, but I'm not too serious about it. I just want to make it work here for us. And right now it's pretty sweet, right? Right now I basically, by just making those changes, I've now made it possible to save and update the spell. I just have to, I'm out here in all spells. I just have to make the right call to update that sheet. Where was that? It was in all items, all spells. I had that update call down here. And here's where I'm passing in a single spell. Google Sheets dot can I get some code written, please, Pudding? You can't just come in here and cover up all my code.
And yet,
It takes over the whole show. We gotta have a meeting about Pudding. We're gonna have a meeting. They used to say that to me all the time, by the way. We're gonna have a meeting about you, Miller.
we just consider it a celebration, right?
Yeah, we're gonna figure out what we're gonna do about you. They don't know. They never said it was a celebration for me. You're gonna get your comeuppance, sir. So, all right. So
Welcome, Pudding.
we need to pass in an array of instances.
Yep.
Or I'm just going to say save changes and pass in a single spell. And I'm going to create an overload for that. See if that works. And in my overload, I'm going to, did it create the overload? It didn't look like it did. Why didn't it do that? Declare method, is this a code rush bug? I think it's a code rush bug. Okay, let's report that. Sending an issue start message out. Okay, devs, I have an existing save changes that accepts as a parameter an array of objects. What's my second one? Yeah, the other one takes a bunch of other stuff as well. I want to create an overload for it. So I'm here, I hit Control Dot, and I choose declare method, but nothing happens. It's not, I don't see a target picker. I'm not taken to the Google Sheets. That's over here. Nothing happens. So that's the bug. I can't do that. All right. I think that's it. Let's see. Issue. Declare method fails to create overload. There we go. this mean? I'm first name coding really. Wait, what's going on? Rory, don't forget about Rory. Been waiting for pudding. Watch out, Mark. It's pudding. Too late. Says go base alpha. Too late. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to manually create the save changes. So we'll come in here. Oops. Where were we? Here's the other one. There it is right there. So I think I just want something like this with an object to instance passed in. Yeah, this is so cool. We can save anything we want. It's gonna be my instance. And then I'm going to create a new object array. I think it's like this. Is that right? What is it? How do I do this? No. I'm like not an array guy at all.
This is the kind of thing I always battle with as well. So you've got the thing that takes a list of them, it's great, and now you only have one. So now you need to wrap your one in an array, and I can never remember the syntax either.
There it is right there. All right, so CodeRush helped me out. I typed in NO, new object, and then a open bracket, and then I did that, and CodeRush said, here you go. By the way, if I type in NO and the other closing bracket, CodeRush will give me the alternate way to initialize. Okay, so actually I kind of like this syntax better. All right, yeah, sorry guys, I'm not, Oh, here comes Surly.
Surly Dad is in the house.
Back. And then I'm going to say save changes and pass in the array. Like that.
So Mark, I'm just curious.
What's it? This is like an overload of fanfare right here.
Bring it on, everybody! Come on!
That was Oscar. Oscar was going to say hi.
Welcome, Grovosaurus.
Oscar always
come
shows
join
up to
the
say
party.
Hi. Yeah. Surly Dev says, oh, Mark, Copper Beauty is positioned his feature chat overlay in the center of the lower screen. He said you just unlock the browser source and grab it and move it rather than grabbing the edge handles and resizing it, which squishes it in an ugly manner. The problem is, Surly, I've tried that, I believe, but because my featured chat is inside a group, featured chat moves the group. It changes the borders of the size of the group, and it resulted in corruption across the board. I have since tried out something new, which is instead of using grouping to create a scene that just has the pieces I want on it, then include the scene in other scenes. And it actually seems like it's a much more stable version of grouping. So that's kind of what my response is. Thanks, Surly, for that, though, by the way. I appreciate that. And the lasers. Party's over, Surly's here. It's true. The party is over when Surly gets here. It is so over. And the problem, you know what else is the problem? Is we can't leave when Surly gets here. Not only is the party over, but we have to stay and watch Surly the whole time. Drunk, stumble around the party, doing his Surly thing. I felt guilty hiding Willie and Lady each time I said something humorous. I know this only happened once per episode, but still. No, Surly, we're going to change that. He's talking about the Dragon Humpers show because the future chat comes up and blocks them. We want to change it. I was talking to Slevin about that, who makes the feature chat. He said he's going to change it, but I think I'm going to totally change it using this new scene technology. I'm just starting to explore it, or the scene, using a scene reference, which I hear good things about. So it seems to be not bad. I'm just a little nervous about referencing scenes. I'm worried about performance possibilities, but I haven't seen any yet. So I think it may be okay. All right, so now we've got our save changes.
Before we move on, Mark, I have a quick question. Just back to that save changes. We had a potential CodeRush bug that we noticed before. I'm curious, if you comment out save changes, first of all, is the bug still there? Does it still fail to declare? But more importantly, if you comment out that one that you've got highlighted there, the save changes with the array of objects, does somehow that fix this apparent bug? i.e. can we declare the one you've written below in the automated fashion? Bear in mind, you've already got it now. You'd have to comment out the second function as well.
Is it going to compile, I'm wondering? Because toArray could go in to this one, right? An object could be an array. Are we going to have a problem anyway?
Pre-exist?
No, this is the one we just added. I just added this one.
So I'm hypothesizing if you comment out both of those two functions and then go to where you were trying to declare method from.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll work.
Previously, does it work now?
I'm sure it'll work. That I'm not, it's the overload aspect of it. See, that works.
Right. So what's happening is the menu's being put in place because there's an availability for the method, but it's refusing to fire because it's perhaps finding the save changes with the array. It's almost like a guard clause that's not quite the same as the availability.
Yeah, no, I get where you're going. Let's see what the compile does with this. I think the compile is going to be able to differentiate. I think we're going to still get in here. That we won't get in here if I pass it an array, is what I'm saying.
toArray should go in the first one. That's correct.
All right, I'm going to do this and this at breakpoints there and there. We need to call this from somewhere. Wait, I'm calling it. Oh, and for my update click. Event handler. What's going on here? Yeah, theoretically, I don't need these anymore. Yeah. Okay. We wrote down spells only here. I think this is because this code only works with the spells and not events. Notice here I've got this kind of guard clause here that says if spells.count is equal to 1, then we're going to actually go in and do it. And if not, we've got kind of a problem. System diagnostics, debug or break. Okay, that's a template I added, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's run it. Set a breakpoint here. Go. So one of the things I talked about I wanted to do today on the show, talk about designing for humans. And I want to talk about some user, I want to make some changes here to make this easier to use. And there's two things that I was going to focus on today. One of them is this save. Once we verify the save works, so we made a couple changes, right? We made it case insensitive. So we could map a field in an instance to a column in the sheet, just by using the attribute. So there's case insensitivity there. Let's go with who's got some spells. She does. Let's look at Thunderwave. Thunder's Force. Okay. So when I do roll damage on Thunderwave, what happens with Thomasina? Do we see the special effects here? Just a real quick one. That is green because this comes from the green school of magic, which is why I've got a green outline around the book and the green school of magic there. I haven't replaced it with an actual Thunderwave icon yet. Related to that, we wrote some code that allowed me to just drag and drop an image right in here over that, and it'll replace the icon and save it there for the rest of the time. But what I wanted to do is go over onto debug here and look at, what was the one Thunderwave we just did? Here's Thunderwave. On cast, I wanted to talk about adding some special effects here. I actually want to go get some data from somewhere else. Let's spell hit effects, got some sound effects. What else is going on there? On casting. Add sound effect. I've got something called sucking whiz. That's like crazy. All right, here we go. Let's go copy that. That's what I wanted to get here from, I think Mage Hand has that. So if I cast Mage Hand, so can I do it here? And then roll the dice. There it is right there. Let's do this. Let's change my poof. I think there's a smoke. And what I really want, so right now I have to do this and this to actually duplicate what's going on. I really want another button here that just triggers the event. That's what I want. Let's do that because I just want to trigger the event flat out is what I want to do. So let's use XAML hot reload. Do the designer. Go find update. Here are the buttons right here. I don't think I want to, while I like these buttons here, and I've got my step and debug run buttons, I'm going to get rid of those, just give more room. My test button is actually, I think, what I want. I'm going to use that. I'm going to change the code here to be, or the text of it to be, just fire event. Like that. Let's go in here. Get some other code here. That's where I do the script. I'm going to instead grab the piece. This is not allowed while running. Let's go click the button. Fire event. Let me do one other thing with fire event. I want to move it. Down to here. Okay. There we go. Fire event. Okay. Let's go find that call to update wherever we were, where we were updating the spell. Instead, search for spells only. There we go. Here's where I want to get the spell name is there. Oh, I had that other code that was here that was actually useful that I deleted. Darn! Darn, darn. Wait a minute.
Oops.
Yeah, oops. All right, let's go back to where we were.
I believe you can ask Git to show you, or indeed Studio to show you the last revision of something prior to your current modifications.
Oh, because you know what I was going to do? I was going to ask, oops, that's not what I want. I was going to ask Source Tree to do the same thing. I was going to throw,
Fair enough.
Going to come in here like this and go like this. Those are the two lines I want right there. Or just this one. Wait. Yeah, I want both of those. Copy. Okay.
That works too.
Let's get out of here. Say INX there. Get out of there. Spell name, there's my code. And expressions debugging is true. We were kind of doing some stuff there. Let's just selection increase and delete there. And then we're going to do the code. Like that. Do I want to turn debugging on, I guess, is my question. So I don't need the spell name or the event name. It's not like we're actually triggering the event. All right, let's just see what happens when I run it. I didn't see anything.
Not a great deal happening.
Nope. Not a great deal that's happening. Why not? What's text look like? Is it good? Text looks good. the active player. Is it enough to just add the sounds, add these things? So I have to roll the dice too, maybe? Yeah, these are like, I have to roll the dice after this, I think, is what I have to do. Because these adding effects just add to the next roll. Seriously, roll the dice. I've got to please roll the dice down below and to seriously roll the dice up here.
Degrees of politeness when addressing the engine.
Yeah, I think...
The next one is Samuel L. Jackson requests the dice roll.
Yeah. Hold on a second. What do the other buttons do here? Roll the dice remote and repeat last. Click the cast, which is really doing casting here. Last cast. Starts with casting. In return, spell name. It's going to say, the button is going to say cast, some spell. Test cast spell. We activate the shortcut on it. So I'm wondering if it goes like, no. What is it? Active events data. Parent group.name, I think, is the name of the spell. That's what I think it is. Test cast spell. Then after we call test cast spell, I want to roll the dice, I think is what I want to do. Because it's rolling the dice is what sends the unleash the next roll. I think that's what I need to do. I think I may have problems. I may have state-related problems here. I was hoping I could just send the effects down, do that. But and these are all. Are these all for effects? They're not really for effects. So maybe it's kind of my expectations were a little bit off to start with. Like this. So we get rid of those instead. I'm playing with this. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
So we've got Mage Hand on casting. Change this to smoke. Fire event. I should really call it cast and roll, maybe. Looks like I don't need this. Hold on. Big shortcut. I think, so let's try it. Let's step in. I think, so we got Mage Hand. Going in here, activate shortcut. Here's my shortcut. Let's see what the shortcut spell is equal to. Shortcut spell. What is that? On casting? I want to see if it's got that smoke. It does not. It has poof. I changed that to smoke. Why didn't it change? So anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, that actually worked though. We sent that out, but the smoke didn't go out to it. Let's figure out why not. Here's the XAML. Do I have an on change event? I kind of want an on change where I just update it as everything changes in the code. Here we go. TBX text code change, update selected event. Set a breakpoint here. What's going on? Let's change the 200 to 220. All right, here we go. There's smoke. Update selected event. Set event code. So I just found the mage hand DTO, spell DTO. Look at this, we're changing the spell event, start with lowercase letter in the DTO. Okay, so we found on casting. Then we're going to try and get property of on casting and set its value in the DTO. We're changing the DTO, but we're not changing the corresponding. We look at the instance of the DTO and now go to its on casting.
Right.
It says smoke right there. So we're changing the DTO, but we're not changing the corresponding spell.
Spell? Yeah.
So that's update selected event. All right. Let's set the next statement here, and let's go in again. And let's go in here. All right, here we go. I want to extract this into its own method. And we're going to call this set property. This. And let's reorder the parameters here. Interesting. Notice the font change when I did that. There's a slight font change. I don't know if I'm going to report this or not. It's such a minor issue. It is. We're at 90%. I'm going to not report it. I think it's not like, you know, hampering any functionality. I think it's because I'm right behind Fred. You can't see it, but I'm scaled at 90%, not 100%. Look at that, though.
Yeah.
It's minor. I guess I'm reporting it. All right, here we go.
Does the reverse happen if you zoom in and you make everything like 150% because you're trying to operate? Does it have an extra small piece of text at that point? See, it doesn't seem to.
So that worked because I used the mouse to go in and out, I think.
Okay.
This is all working here. Let's see what happens when I choose from the menu. 200%. Yeah, that's working.
Is it just a deliberate choice to have a fractionally larger target object?
I'm not sure what you mean.
The word instance, I assume you're referring to the fact that it is larger than the two others.
No, there. I'm talking about this. Look at this right here.
Oh,
See that?
that's
what I'm
subtle,
talking
isn't
about.
it?
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. It's just that happened once before, and it seems to do with changing my zoom or being at a non 100% here. If I'm not at 100%, there we go. Look at that. So I just switched to 100%, and then I zoomed in using mouse control to go in and out. And there you go. You can see it as I zoom in and out.
Yeah.
Wait, right there. There's one right there.
Is it a particular stage of zooming in?
I don't know. No, I don't think so necessarily. That's what it looks like right there. So you're just basically seeing the N from name still being here. Yeah, it's super minor, but you know, we'll report it. We'll let the devs decide what they want to do about it. Reorder params, cosmetic issue. There we go. Okay, so I want instance first, and then the name of the property, and then the value. That's what I want. So let's hit enter here on that. So there's the object, the name is there. This is, I'm going to rename this to value. And I think I'm going to change the type of this because I think value is expecting an object. So I'm going to change this to an object here. So just TO like that. Spacebar will give me an object. So set, maybe change this. Let's rename this to set value. Okay, so there's my set value, taking my instance, my name, and my code. And now what I want to do there's some asymmetry here I'm just noticing here. Let's fix the asymmetry by doing this. Come in here. This is going to be asymmetry by don't fix it. So I'm going to put that there. Then I'll put this here. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, hey, all spells dot get group name, which is going to be the spell name. I need a character here. I'm going to say active player. Like that. That's going to give me my active player. I'm not going to specify spell slot level. We're just changing the events, and those are independent of spell slot level. So we're going to say, oh wait, I don't want get, I want get all. Like that. It's going to give me, what is the list of spells? I'm not sure. It's probably a list of spells. And then what I want to do here is I want to say, hey, look, if matching spells dot count equals 1, then we're going to say set value matching spells 0, comma, name, comma, code. So now I'm going to save it in the spell itself.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll work. So let's see what happens now if we do that. Here's my instance. Here's the spell DTO set correctly. Let's go get that matching spell out there. That looks like that's probably going to be okay. Uh-oh. What's my null reference here? On casting. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we lowercased it. All right, I got you. Okay. So let's set next statement here. Come out. Where's the event name? How did I do this here? Name is equal to name. I'm actually corrupting the original. That's what it looks like I'm doing here. Okay. So let's do this. Lower event name equal to all right, lower event name we're going to call here for this one, and this one we're going to use the regular event name right there.
Okay, so and edit name and put it back the way it was.
Yeah.
This run through.
Right.
Another genius move by the people from Edit and Continue. Gotta love the ability to just edit that stuff.
All right, set next statement. That's right. Mage hand. And here. This is also what you're seeing is CodeRush's debug visualizer. Really, really helpful in these cases here. Tell me what's going on. I got the spell DTO. I got back. There's on casting. So now you can see I'm passing in. I'm set value spell DTO on casting, and there's the code right there. So I'm gonna come down in
And we
here.
can also see ahead of time that name is got that capital on the front, so we're all good.
Yep, right there. Okay, so now I've done that. So the question is the instance that's there the same as the instance that's on the shortcut? I think it is. That's what I hope at least. There's the update right there. Let's run it. So now we think we know at least the instance is there. Let's see what happens when I do fire event on there. And let's get in here. Test cast spell. Activate shortcut spell name. Shortcut. Here's where we get the shortcut. Now we'll be able to check to see, is it the same instance or not? I think it is. On cast. There it is, smoke. So now we've changed it. Whoops. It was there. Sorry. Hitting control didn't make that all go away. Let's run it. But smoke didn't do anything. Spell hit effect. Why not? Let's double check one more time to see, to verify that. Yep, smoke didn't do anything. So I've got the wrong word here, I think. These, I think, are coming off of spell effects. Is that right? Is that right? No, it's not. It's coming off of what? It's coming off of...
Are these not items direct within your folder?
No, these are die rolls. I'm trying to think where they're. I'm just not remembering them, where they're coming from here.
They're just on disk. They're part of the folder structure.
Well, the question is like here, at spell hit effect, spark burst. Let's go look for where spark burst is in the spreadsheet. I'm pretty sure I've got spark burst on one of these pages here. I thought was the case. Let's come up here, find in all sheets. No more results looping around. Okay. Interestingly enough, we're on what? Fireball? Is that what I'm on here? I'm on Mage Hand.
So you've got Smoke Wave as a legit item.
Got 7 of those. Let's go back to Spark Burst. Said it was looping around, but yeah, it's got 7 of them. Okay, so there's Fireball, but they're all here, nowhere else. So why is it here? What's going on here? Spark Burst is here. Oh, down below. I don't see Spark Burst in this text. Rory, do you see the word Spark Burst in here?
No, but it falls off the
Oh wait,
bottom.
oh you're right, it is falling off the bottom. Okay, hold on, I see what's going on here. It's because we made that small. Okay, there we go. I see what's happening. Okay, good. There's that. So Spark Burst does not appear to be in the sheets, not appear to be defined in here, which means it's down in the code. All right, let's go look at the code. We'll spin up a new instance of Visual Studio, open up my the source code for the overlays. I'm trying to get that really dense poof of smoke. Is what I'm trying to get.
I wonder if they don't just work by virtue of trying to find a series of animation which exists on disk.
That's where I'm headed now. Well, not on disk. No, I think it's not that. But it's inside of the name. When we create the animations, when we load them from disk, we give them a name.
Oh, I see.
And I think that's it. Let's go look for Spark Burst down in this space right here. See if we find all. See if we can find it. I'm feeling the need for a faster machine, Rory.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes me, you know, a completely obnoxious guy or not, but I'm telling you.
Are you running off traditional spinning Rust disks, or have you an SSD in there?
I've got SSD.
Okay.
This was like the fastest laptop I could buy a year or two ago, 2 years ago, I think. But I'm like, I shouldn't have to wait this long for a search, for example.
No. I believe you can confine searches to specific folders and actually create custom arrangements of those. That can help certain types of search if you know the rough location that it's going to be, and you can exclude lots of other source.
All right, so I've got some options here. Got Fireball. I got smoke blast.
Okay.
Let's see if that works.
Smoke blast, smoke wave.
Let's see if smoke blast works. Smoke blast, fire vent. Oh, yeah, it came up. It was not big. Let's make it a little bigger. It was not big and it was a little bit. Let's do double size. Fire the vent. That's kind of cool. All right. So part of it is I need, and by the way, I think one of the things I might want to try on here, Rory, on the show, is integrating IntelliSense into this WPF text box. So I can, it can allow me to choose what I want. That's what I'm looking for.
Sure.
Okay, so there's smoke blast. Not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for that poof. That big, deep poof that we do.
Is that literally just called poof?
Dense smoke. That's what it is. I'm pretty
go.
sure it's dense smoke. Here's dense smoke. Fire the event. There you go.
There we go.
There you go.
That's fairly recognizable, eh?
Yeah, now I got you.
I do love, though, the speed now with which you can perform that loop and that test to see, does this thing exist? No. Does this other thing exist? No. Okay, it's this one. And there's no real delay in attempts.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to right here. And I was even thinking about doing it, well, like when I make a change and we just hold for a second, it just fires off the event. Right, like that. Just kind of playing with the colors here. Let's make it a little more, let's try 280 here and see what that looks like. It's not bad. It's a little too saturated for me. I'm not sure which of these is saturation. Let's try this one. Yeah, it would be the second parameter. That would be the logic there. So this is cut saturation in half. It did not seem to cut it in half. Change it to 25. It didn't seem to have any effect at all.
I can never remember the order, but I thought it was the third one, wasn't it?
Hue, saturation, lightness is what it should be. So
oh no, you're right.
That
is the order.
Let's make it to 0.5. Maybe I've got these on the wrong scale. No,
That
no
seem
impact.
pretty similar.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the heck's going on in here. All right. Just for kicks, let's change this one. That's brightness.
Lighting definitely changed, so
Yeah. Saturation is not changing, it looks like. Let's drop this down to 50 again. Fire the event. Let's go figure out why that's not working. Sometimes this happens on a show. We're like bug hunting. So add spell hit effect. That's, I think we're actually got the sprites. We get the sprites. Where do we? Sprites effect.start. Right there. I think we're going to have to run this, is what I think we're going to have to do to debug this. I think the problem is happening down low. Set Q set.
There's a set hue set, right?
Yeah.
Those are...
I think we're going to have to, I just want to, there's a delay, there's a frictional force against stopping, so I'm not sure I want to jump in there and do it. Hey, Green Wind is out there. Hey, Green Wind, how you doing? Good to see you. We might also just verify that the data is being sent down correctly from up here. We're calling what? Add spell effect? Is that what it is? Let's verify our data is good. What's down here in our commands, our expressions, our functions? Add spell hit effect, I think is where we are. Set a breakpoint there. And let's come over
Just wondering, do you have any other effects or places you know that you definitely are using different saturations that presumably we've seen work before?
Yeah, I think when we've tested it, it's been the case. Here we go right here. Second parameter is 50. So let's go look through. Let's just kind of take a look as we're stepping through this code here.
Sure.
Here's the hue, here's the saturation. Saturation is equal to 50. Okay, what are we doing with saturation?
So far.
Passing it into add spell effect. Okay, let's get down to there. Let's jump in side of that. Here's the saturation. Saturation is going into new spell hit. Okay. Yeah, there's the saturation. There it is right there. There it goes to 50. The data looks pretty good. Spell hit. I bet I've got spell hit on this other side over here. Do I? No. I thought I was going to have that same thing. I thought it was going to be like a DTO sent across, but it does not appear to be that. That's not going to be the case. Additional spell effects. DQ it. Create effect. Oh, look at this, Rory. We're not passing saturation in here. Why is that? Animation effect. We don't have saturation here. We do.
Wow.
But we're not setting it.
Never passed it through.
We're setting it here. Like that. Okay. It looks like it's a problem up above. That's actually good news. Problem is here, create effect. I think I'm gonna have to kill the app. We need to
So it's okay to a degree because it's only one link in the chain. We did, in most cases, put this item in there. It's not missing from all of the places, just from this one level.
Yeah, let's say 100 here. There's my create effect there. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Hold on. I want to find the one that's missing saturation. Hue shift, where's my hue shift coming from here? There it is right there. Okay, keep looking for create effect. Here we go. Here's one I want to add in hue shift, hue, and now I want to add parameter. Got saturation. Boom. And then we're going to pass in 100 here. Hit enter there, there. It's going to be saturation. And then we're going to come down here and change that saturation. Okay. And I think that's it. Normally, though, I'm realizing I would have done a little more double checking on everything. Just tabbing the next reference all the way through. Make sure it was set. Okay. See what happens. Running it now.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
Loading up player data.
Thomasina Colorful. Merkin Bushwhacker.
Okay. So come back over to debug. Mage hand. Change this to dense smoke. Fire vent. Saturation is now in full, being passed in there. Create event. Create effect, I mean. Nice. There's my dense smoke. Let's change the color of it to 280. Let's change the saturation of it to 50 and fire the event. And now we should see saturation 50. We do. Clear the breakpoint. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess that is different because it was a brighter one before. Let's compare it with 100 again. Let's double check that. Okay, let's change it to 25 just to make sure that we're right. Maybe there's another problem. I'm not sure. This should be really low saturation.
You're missing a
Up.
comma?
Yeah, I missed a comma. This is 100. Oh, I've got override on. Okay, one more time. Try that. There you go. So low saturation right there. Okay, so cool.
Things be working better.
They're better, for sure. That's not bad. We go to 1.2.
I was a little confused, however, in the codes, just before we switch back here. There appeared to be a method that was not taking or not passing in a saturation, and you got it rigged at 100. Just internal of that, I think it was create spell effect, was it?
Yeah, it was the new, it was, yeah, right here. Like this is
So this is
example.
purely to provide a default.
Yeah.
So for other things that are not already specifying it.
Yep. In fact,
Fair enough then.
we could add the equals 100 there too. We could definitely do that too. But I can't do it while I'm running. All right, good. So that's not bad. Next, I want to call update mage hand on casting handling.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do, and I'm torn between.
Which is our save, isn't it? That's our take this value and put it back in the cloud.
It is, yeah. So let's go find mage hand in here. There it is. It's got that green background in it because we've got this search for spark burst here. So this is the existing code right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, wait, that's on Fireball, though. That's not Mage Hand. Looks like we jumped. There it is, right there. There's Mage Hand. So now what I want to do is I want to just hit update. Let's see if it works. Oh, we got a breakpoint. All right, you want to step into it? It's less exciting, I suppose, when we go in here. Here we go. Save changes.
What level of trust do you have?
Creating a new array instance. Coming in here. This will actually be good. You can look through the code we had before. Instances, get the type of it. So we're going to come back and see what that instant type is. It's a spell. Then we're going to check to see if it's got a sheet name attribute. And it does. And the sheet name attribute is D&D. We did that when we, in the spell instance. What's cool about this, Roy, by the way, is we're essentially eliminating the need for these DTO classes. Like, totally. Any conversion that you want, like if I need to do any kind of conditioning of the data or conversion of it, I could just create a property with the name that matches the field, or create a special property and then use my column attribute to match it to the name of the field in the spreadsheet, and then do my conditioning in the getter or the setter, right?
Fair enough.
And that's now essentially my DTO. All my DTO load and save logic is all there if I want it to be, if I need it to be. And if I don't, it's just a direct read and write from the field. Like if it's string data, I don't have to do anything other than mark it with the column attribute. So here we are, we're here. What's next? Get custom attributes. Looking for the tab name. See if we find that. If we do, we've got it. So now we're passing this into save changes. We found the sheet name and we found the tab name. And we're passing in the array of instances and the type of the instance, which is a spell.
Yep.
Cool. It's as if
All
we're
good.
Brilliant. All right. Now we're going to come in here. Yeah, we did this on Friday. This code was, I think, written on Friday. Oh, no. Oh, the D&D is wrong. Doc name D&D is not found. It's the wrong name.
Oh.
That's okay. We're going to kill it. Well, that's all right. We're going to go and we'll get this. We'll get this working. The reason that's wrong is because the attribute was wrong.
In fairness, we have some very nice defensive code there that would let us know this before charging ahead and just writing things into random locations. So that's still a good thing.
Yeah, there's the problem. It should be this, uppercase D at the end. Because it's got to match this spell name right here. I mean, this sheet name. Okay? All right. Let's
good. Yep.
run it again. Make a change or two. And hit update. And I don't think we have a breakpoint. I think we lost our breakpoint, maybe. I'm not sure if we did or not. Let's go down in Google Sheets just in case. Set a breakpoint there.
Merkin Bushwhacker.
Initialize player data. Okay, debug. Mage hand on casting. Call that dense smoke. Like that. Made it 280. Saturation was 50. Size was 1.2. And expired the event. Good.
Okay.
That worked. Now let's choose update. Here's Roy. And clear the breakpoint there. Make changes, clear the breakpoint there. Here we go. All right, so we've now found, this is just checking to make sure we've read from this data before. Like I said, it's only an update engine right now.
Yep.
Right? So have we read from it? Then yeah, we can write back out. If we haven't seen those sheets before, we don't know how to open them, we're not gonna save it out. So we've got the correct spreadsheet ID. Grabbing the header rows, so there are 52 of those, and we're grabbing all the rows as well. I'm sorry, so there are 52 columns in the header row. That's what's happening there. And then we're also grabbing all rows. And I think all rows start with the one after the header row. Nope, I'm wrong. It's still got the first one in it. Okay. All right, no biggie. Then we're going to go and we're going to go through all the instances. There's only one. What's our serializable fields? This is, oh, here's what we're doing is we're going through and looking for every field marked with the column attribute. So see what's going on here, this get fields column attribute or get fields indexer attribute. It's this sweet thing that we did where we're going through here and we're using reflection to find all of the members, both properties and fields. And then we're adding them together into the resulting array that where they have the custom attribute of the specified attribute coming in with the attribute. It's got to be an attribute descendant. So that just gives us this list of all of those get fields. It gives us properties and fields, anything we can read or write to. And get instance row index. Okay, what this is going to do now is going to take that instance we're serializing and find out what row number it's in based on the unique data. If we jump into it, here you can kind of see what's happening here. We're going to go through
in our case, that's the get mage hand.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to go through all of these, and then ultimately we're going to find our way out of here. I'm going to set a breakpoint here, and a breakpoint here, and I guess a breakpoint there. And we're going to run and see where we stop. So there we go. We've found that in, what's my row number here? Row index, we're in 233 for mage hand. And if we go out into the spreadsheet, yeah, that's 233 right there. Okay? So we found that. That's excellent news. Okay. For those, jump out of this. So we found our row index. Then we're going to go through the 9 serializable fields. And I'm going to set a breakpoint down here. And I think maybe here as well. I'm just going to hit run. So we get past it the first time. So we were going, J is what? It's the first one. We're just going through all the fields marked with the column. And we're checking to see if the values are not the same. We should only hit this once. In fact, if I clear this and put the breakpoint there and run, we should come in here once. And the value is there. You can see, look, the value is add spell it effects dense smoke, and the existing value is poof. So that means, all right, we've got a changed value. We're going to figure out, here's the update request. The body range, it's already been specified up here. We figured that out up here. So it's going to be that range is spells that, here, let me see if I can jump in on this. No, I don't like that. Anyway, it's spells with an exclamation mark and then O234. So that's the cell number. That's what we're going to update. We update this, And we got to say user entered. The cool thing about user entered for the value is it'll do additional formatting on it. So if I pass a date, it'll parse it as a date as opposed to a string. So user entered is that's a piece we learned about on Friday. There it is right there. If you look in the response, it'll tell you how many updated cells and columns. That's exactly what we're expecting. And that's it. And so we're good. And now in
theory.
No, we're good. You gotta trust. And now look at this. There it is.
It's already updated in the UI of the spreadsheet.
Yeah. In fact, if we put these both up at the same time and we clear all our breakpoints, I bet you'll see it's really fast compared to what you might otherwise expect for all that. We are reading in all of the cells, finding out what's different, and changing only the one that's different. By the way, Roy, I'm using this on real data, right?
Yeah.
I'm using this on data that essentially is mission critical data. I've only used it on Friday once and then today.
Yep.
Right?
Some might argue that's a little risky. However, there is, of course, the version history feature built into Google Sheets, so arguably the data could be retrieved. It depends, of course. If you were to run amok and paste this into every cell everywhere by accident, that would be quite the manual exercise to retrieve, I think.
Yeah.
There's still a certain amount of risk.
I'm interested in add spell hit effect. I forget what the extra parameters are over here. I want to go look for those. Let's go find it. Since I don't have my built-in IntelliSense yet. Oh, it's rotation. Okay, so after scale comes rotation, auto rotation, and time offset. What's going on here? So, and add sound has just one single parameter, which is optional, which is time offset. So, so this has got some rotation here. I think -1 means random.
You're going to bring the spreadsheet up in background so that when you hit the save, you see it.
Yeah, let's do that. And this is the time offset here for this. So if let's do a color shift on the spark first. Let's make it the purple. So we'll say like a 300 on that. Okay. Let's fire the event. Let's fire the event to see it go purple. Sparks. There's the purple spark. Let's change the size of that as well. Let's make it a 1.5 so it's a bunch of sparks all over. There's the scale. Fire the event one more time. There you go. All right.
That's good. Very visible.
And now
everybody's watching that 25 on the spark burst on the spreadsheet at the back there.
Now I'm going to hit update.
That's going to just leap into a 300, right?
Right now. Click. Oh, shoot. All right. There's my 300. Let's change it.
Well, it worked.
Let's make it 333. Ready? Click. There it is. It's about 2-3 seconds. So it's not bad.
Still not bad. Not bad at all.
Because we are grabbing everything, finding the right row, right? Using the indexers. See what I'm saying? It's a clever solution, right? And now, in other words, the code we had to write to be able to save spells, a spell object into a Google spreadsheet is like 2 lines of code for the to mark the spreadsheets and the sheet name. Let me go look at show you those one more time. We'll go back out to our spell object right here. My spell instance. These 2 lines of code are required to be able to serialize it. We needed to add an indexer, and there are 2 in this case. So we had 2 indexers so it can find the right row using the unique data here. So this data has never changed. And then we had to add the column property. That's all we had to do, and now we're able to send that data right out. Dropping more pudding on everyone. Make the online test is top. Yeah, I would agree with you.
Can I ask, Mark, is this Grovosaurus music in the background at the moment?
I don't think so, but it sounds a little bit like it, doesn't it? Got the belt. All right, cool. I'm going to say cool because now we're able to make these changes and update these pieces, which means now what I can do is I can copy all of this, right? Let's go over to Cornelia. Let's grab Shillelagh. Let's get on casting. So on casting does this. Let's put it in on cast instead, because that's when she actually rolls the dice on it, or when she calls cast on it. And let's change the colors on this. This we want to have green smoke. So green is about, what, 100, I think. I'm going to let it be nice and saturated, though. And we won't go crazy on the scaling of that. We'll do a spark burst as well. I want the spark burst to come a little sooner. I'm going to make it 60. I also want this to be green, but slightly a bluer green. So bluer green, I'm going to say is like maybe 170, 160 maybe. And then I'm going to keep the sound effects for now. Although I think I'm going to make this, change this to 600. All right, let's fire that event and see how that looks. Should show up over there. Oh, got to choose the weapon, club. There it is.
Nice.
It's not bad. The sound effects I think I got to make a little bit better. They're not quite right to me. But there it is. Now I'm just going to click on update. Well, let's go out and find Shillelagh. Let's just double check. Shillelagh, there it is right there. Let's move this off to the side. Close that down. I feel like I'm not. Where am I? I feel like he's jumping really far. Oh, here we go. So we put that on cast. Is that right?
We did paste it cast.
Oh, okay, I see. I was like, what's going on there? It's because this is showing from the previous column.
That's slightly hidden behind you, Mark.
Oh, okay. This is just data from the other column. So now we'll come over here, drag this over, click on update Shillelagh on cast, and we should see this update right there. There it is right there.
There it is.
Sweet. It's nice. It's really nice. And so now the next time we load in the data, that's going to be there. So we've essentially built like round tripping on our data.
There is one area you may want to be careful on. Okay, you cannot have somebody, potentially at least, updating the sheet whilst the application has got data loaded, because you may have somebody in the midst of changing things and they would not be aware of changes made in the sheet.
I think it'll work.
It's unlikely you'll have both at the same time, but doesn't the data only refresh into the app when the app starts?
I'm not sure.
That is to say, you can do a save from the app, as we have been, and it'll show up immediately for somebody who's looking at the sheet. But if somebody's in the sheet modifying a different cell, it will in no way go into the app until the app restarts. So as the person's browsing through the app looking at other things, they might...
Check your Google email account. I've just shared the file with you. We're going to do it right now. And you're going to get your comeuppance, Roy.
Really?
Yeah.
This is cool.
Or I will. One of us will. Your goal is to destroy the data. And my goal is...
Hang on. If I succeed, that's really bad.
No, your goal is not to destroy the data. Your goal... Here you go. Look, Roy's in already.
I am in.
So
yeah.
Get somewhere around here. Put your carrot on Shillelagh on player
so I need
prepares
to
attack.
find... I've played with this before in terms of the sheet, so we have weapon effects,
or go
no,
down to shocking grasp. Come down over here.
I've got to find the right tab. Weapons, okay.
It's spells.
Spells.
Spells is the right tab.
Okay. There we go. Okay, and as you say, scrolling down.
There's here we go. I see you're up here. It looks like you're in column 1.
I'm on the Shillelagh row.
Yeah, get out of here to on cast.
Okay.
And player prepares attack. Someone in this space. Once you get what?
On cast. Here we go. Right. I see where you are.
Okay. I want to see where you are. Okay, there. Now we see Rory's there. Why don't you move on to the right or to the go to the right or up or down?
There we go.
Be anywhere that I'm not. Okay. Go ahead and make a change in here that's not too destructive. Change the 1d10 to a 1d12 and then back to a 1d10. Go back and forth like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make 2d10.
All right. Fine. Perfect. Let's see that change. There. Just updated. Cool. Now go back and change it to a 3d10. I'm gonna go make a change on mine, and we're gonna hit update at the same time. right? This is kind of the scenario you're talking about to some degree, isn't it?
Well, this is certainly a good thing to test. It's not quite what I was imagining, but that's okay.
All right, so let's do this. I've just added 100 to my hues. So if I fire that event, there's kind of a tealish blue color now. I'm ready to click update when you are.
Okay, so I've done my update.
Okay, you want to do it again? Get ready, and we'll do it at the same time.
Which one do you want me to edit? The on-player prepares attack, yeah?
Do this one for now. Then I'm going to send you over to destroy the same one that I'm going to work on.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm going to go in there, and are you ready?
Yeah, ready?
Done.
I think I clicked it. Yep, there it is. Mine's updated. So your change occurred, right? This is where you want it to be, right? You are now at 1d10. Is that what you changed to?
I did. I'm back to 1d10, which is how we started.
And I changed mine to match, so you can see now my 200 and my 260 are both matching over here, right?
Yes.
So now I'm going to change these back to 100. Now, do you want to come over here to the same cell I'm going to update and try to make a change to it?
So, okay.
Because here's the thing. Basically, what's happening is Google Sheets allows multiple people to work on the same cell at the same time. I think what happens is whoever makes the latest change gets it, I think. So that's what I think is happening. Why don't you come?
I think you're correct.
So I don't think it's a problem is what I'm saying. Come right up into on cast.
I've done a change.
Okay. I don't see the change on cast.
Last line. I say 700 from your 6.
Okay. So you want to make another change at the same time and see who wins? All right. So we'll go. I'm going to count down 3, 2, 1, and when I say 0, we're both going to submit. Okay. 3, 2, 1, 0. So I think yours changed to something and mine changed right after yours. So I overrode your change.
Yeah, you win. Definitely in that case.
Because I was the last one. But I think if I hit undo, let's see what happens. If I hit undo, jump me up here. I don't want to be up there.
What undo's going to do? That's a great question.
Is it undo just for me, or is it undo for all of us?
I think it's keeping your undo stack separate from mine, but if the two happen to cross, I have no idea what what the expected behavior would even be.
I don't know why it's jumping me up here. I'm going to hit undo. You keep your eyes on that and see if anything changes to it. Undo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's jumping me all over the place with undo. Why is that? That's weird. Anyway, so let me ask you this. It was not quite what you were imagining, but are we at a point where you are more confident that in our stability?
What we've got is still good. I don't think there's an actual problem per se. I'm only imagining that if you, Mark Miller, are, shall we say, looking through each and every person's set of spells, just making sure that things are correct. And as you move away from something, or you haven't yet got to it, somebody else is in the sheet, and they've also modified that spell since you started the application.
Sure.
So when you move on to that and you go, yep, that's fine, you won't have just recently loaded up their changes, and as a result, you won't see their changes in the application.
Yep.
So when you move on, you're unaware of those changes, whereas the reverse is not true. Somebody who is sitting in the application and sitting in this sheet doing nothing is aware of all your changes if they happen to be in the right place.
Right.
It's not necessarily a problem. It's just an inconsistency of the sort of pseudo bidirectionality that we have.
Yeah, you're right.
But,
pseudo bidirectional. Yeah, no, you're right. I think that's an excellent observation. However, under the constraints,
it's quite an edge case, though.
Well, in this case, for sure, right? Because this is the kind of thing that these files will probably be only maintained by me. There might be a game sheet that is maintained by the Dungeon Master and myself. The game might keep track of game state, like what date and time it is, right? Where they are on the map, what players are in the game. That might be an additional direction we go. But right now, I love it. I love it because with very little code, we have version history, we have version control built in to some degree version control built in to our persistence, right? We have persistence with a couple lines of code. We can now easily add new things and persist them as we want to.
Yep.
Right? And making those effects. So the idea is we're trying to get the editing of the data into something more like this, where we can now add in IntelliSense, for example, so that creating these lines of code is much faster and easier. And even get to something where if I make a change, I want to have a checkbox here that if I make a change and I haven't made a change in like a second, it just goes and clicks on fire event like this and checks it out.
That's the continuous testing of our IDE, yes?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm maybe thinking, so we say fire event, get weapon target is called on casting. Why is this coming up when we go here? I guess it's because we're rolling the whole dice, is what it is. So it
says target which weapon. So you've got Shillelagh, which is about cast on a weapon.
Yeah, and on casting it's going to be fired. That event is fired. So yeah, that makes sense. Fire event is really, this is really a cast and roll is what this button is really doing right now. But not bad. I'm going to say that we're essentially where we want to be on that. Let's look at the effect one more time. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Okay. Let's quickly do poison spray while we're here. Poison spray. We're adding a poof effect already. I think I've got a poison effect. My poison effect is. Let's see if I can find that. Oh, neat. Spark bursts. There's different spark bursts. Water. Fumes. I want to try fumes. Let's just do that one for now. Let's probably do that. Oh, fumes spin around. Oh, no, they don't. Fumes are in front. See them there? But they don't go away. It's a loop. Fumes are used for state indications. Like if you're poisoned, I was going to use that. But unfortunately, fumes do not go away. So we can't use fumes. Let's try fireball. Is that right? Fireball like that? Fireball. Interesting. So fireball, do I get a second? Fireball is actually looking for a second set of colors because it's got a front and it's got a secondary brightness. Secondary brightness. Where's that coming from? No, not there. Let's see. Does that show up here anywhere? It is. So secondary brightness, hue shift, and saturation is here. Here, new animation effect. I think what I want to do is I want to kill this. And I think I want to add more parameters here. That's what I think I want to do. Why are these -1s? That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Okay, Mark, I'm afraid we've reached that time of day once again.
All right, buddy.
Sadly, I have to take my leave of the fantastic show and your good self. But hey, look at the achievement.
We'll see you tomorrow.
We have proper saving to this sheet. A wonderful editor. So we now got our own convenient editor placed on top of the back-end services of, as you say, version control provided to us by the good people at Google.
Yeah, Judicus has a great question out there. By the way, I'll see you later, Rory. I'm going to move, and thank you so much. I appreciate it as always.
Okay, bud. Have a
tomorrow.
good one. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Judicus has an interesting question out there. Does Google Sheets have a webhook of type interface? Get notified something changes in the app? I am not aware of that, but that's a really great question. Because that could kind of give us that, go from being kind of a pseudo bidirectional data storage to something a little more realistic where we can get notified if changes occur. All right. Let's see. I want to set the secondary brightness, saturation, and hue shift. I want to be able to add those and change, set those. You can set those up here. Those -1s were really odd to me. I think you should default flat out to 100s. I don't see any, it's a radical change, I know, right? I'm changing defaults to values without quite understanding it. But I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to come down here and bring these, make these secondary. Secondary saturation. And secondary brightness, like that. Secondary hue shift. Like that. Then I'm going to go find my animation effect where it's constructed. Just in these two places. Come on, where am I? Where else am I done there? Create effect. Create effect is where I'm doing that. Let's take all of these. Okay. Now create effect. What's that being called from? EQ animation effects. Additional spell effects. Here we go. Spell effect, create effect. Get all of these. The next set here. Spell head. Does spell head have secondary? It may not. So add those. And then let's add these right at the end here. It's a little crazy, but it's going to work for us. Oops, not what I wanted. Secondary brightness, secondary brightness. Okay, here's my spell hit. Hey there, baby.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah?
Do you need any help?
Well, I'm trying to figure out what to do with this method right here.
Oh, man. That's tough.
All right, well, let me know when you figure out what I should do with it. All right, so we need to pass in more parameters here. I'm just going to flat out add these here. Let's organize these out so we can see them. That. So that will enqueue that. Add spell effect. That's add spell hit. Here's the one. So I'm going to add 3 more parameters to this one. So now up to 11. Secondary hue, set the default equal to 0. Argosite count is greater than 8. There we go, args of 8. Set that there. And secondary hue. Secondary saturation and secondary brightness. Let's mark the fields we want to change with the multi-select. That, select the whole thing, copy it, come down and paste it, and now we're going to change this to saturation. Hit enter, change that to 9, hit enter, Paste one more time and change that to brightness. This is a nice feature of CodeRush. Change that to 10. We'll get 10. And I think that's it. Yeah, so it's a nice feature of CodeRush where we're able to just mark the fields we want, make the change, and copy and paste it. And CodeRush will put the caret where we want it to be and allow us to very quickly make changes. Right, with that on the clipboard, we should be able to come down here and paste again. And there, it's highlighting the pieces, the fields that you've selected, and we can make the change, whatever change we're going to make for that particular field. Like for example, I want to add the word alpha here and change it to 11. Very quick to go in and make those changes, not spending a lot of time moving the caret around, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think we got that. Let's run it, see if that's enough to make this work. I'm going to switch over to, once we get this started, we're going to switch over to the music for the Dungeons and Dragons game. A little variety going on here. Starting up.
Cornelia!
Oh, we didn't update that. I almost want to throw that over here at Shillelagh is what I want to do. Yeah, I think we need it for closing. If we got any changes, do you want to update it or not? I want to say, so let's do this. We're going to say, we're going to give it some dense smoke. So we'll fire that event first of all. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do it for Shillelagh. Let's do it over for, let's practice over in this space here. That's really weird. Poison spray on casting. What's weird about it is it's got the poison one coming up here again, but we didn't specify. We specified dense smoke. Let's try one more time. Oh, you know what? It might have been just existing before. All right, so there's the dense smoke there. Then let's see if we can get a fireball in here. Fireball. And fire the event. Okay. It looks like its secondary pieces are somewhere initializing to 0. The secondary, oh yeah, it's here. Duh. That's my bad. Let's do it again. Fire event. 100. Saturation brightness. It should always initialize to 100. There you go. All right, cool. Now we want to go we want to mess with those secondary colors in here. So I think I'm going to pass in, I got to pass in all the other parameters. So 100, 100. Then I think we've got a rotation here, which is going to be 0. Auto rotation per seconds. The delay is coming in here, I think, as well. No second delay. I'm getting all those parameters in the right order. Hue, saturation, brightness, scale, rotation. I forgot scale, I think. Hue, saturation, brightness, scale, which is going to be 1. Then we've got the next color. So let's make this like more of a teal, 190, 100, 100. So it should be a purple or a blue and teal. I'm sorry, green and teal fireball. Let's see if we see that. Yeah. Nice. We also got sound effects from the dice too coming out. Cool. Let's update the poison spray on casting handler. Okay. Not bad. All right. Change of direction here. Next thing I want to work on is I want to improve the user interface for the Dungeon Masters. Right now, if I want to change damage or health, the Dungeon Master UI. Hold on a second. Let's close the stream. Close the. Everybody can see it. Oops. Right here. If I want to change the health of a player, I hit the tens digit first. So, like, say I want to take 23 health, I would hit this button first, which I'm doing now, followed by that button next, and then I would change, hit the damage button down here, and that takes away 23 points of damage for everybody. But while I designed this at first because I thought it would be useful because it just seemed like a simple solution, it occurred to me that it's not a great solution because it's totally unintuitive. It doesn't support numbers over 100 or more. And yeah, so what I want to do is I want to get rid of all of these buttons here. And I want to make it so that I can then just click as many of these buttons as I want, and it'll build the number up for me. That's what I want to do. So let's work on that. Right now I've got two parameters out here. It's not two parameters, I've got two functions out here in my main app. I've got a folder called Stream Deck Commands, and I've got two of them out there. One called the ones command, and another called the tens command. And I think I want to delete one of these and change the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here to this. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete the tens command from here. I'm going to jump over to the ones command. And I want to change the text of this to, is it going to be like press digit? I want to change the command to like something along those lines to indicate that a number is going to be added. Number added, number key, number pressed. Maybe I'll just do digit. So this is going to be, I'm going to rename this from the ones command to the digit command. Let's do that. Let's rename file to match the type. And we'll call this digit. Like that. Change set ones. So now we got to go look at what's going on in set ones. And now here's what we want to do. We want to change the way we're bringing these numbers in. So we're going to say add digit. And I think I also need like a clear all digits command is what I think I need as well. So let's see here. What's occurred to me that tens command that we deleted, the class we deleted, there's a reference right there. Kill that reference. Okay. So add digit, it's going to grab that. We've got the integer, but instead of saying one value is equal to that, I want to have a I think I want to have something called digits entered, like that. And I want to say, hey, if digits entered is equal to int.min value, then we're going to just set it equal to that. Otherwise, we're going to say digits entered times 10 times equals 10. And then we're going to say digits entered plus equals as int. That's what we're going to do. As the digits come in, we're going to keep shifting left, essentially what's happening here, and modifying it. The 10 value we don't care about really. But I do like this last 10 set time. What I was doing with this is checking to see is, hey, if its min value, in other words, we reset it, we're just going to set tends to 0 when we call the get value to see what the total value is. If now minus the last 10 set time, total seconds is more than 15 seconds have gone by, we're going to ignore it. It's kind of what I was doing there. So kind of what I want to do here is I want to kind of reuse this last 10 set time, but I'm going to call it the last digit set time. And I'm going to say, hey, if I think I want something very similar to the code, that 15-second code right up here. I think it's going to go like this. It's going to say, hey, if the last digit set time is equal to min value, which means our first time in, or last digit set time, now minus then, total seconds, is more than 15 seconds have gone since the last time I've hit that button. Maybe even say more than, make it shorter, more than 10 seconds have passed. Then I want to say, maybe 12. Then I want to say last digit set, well, then I want to say, sorry, I want to say, I'm going to do two things here. Whoops. Set equal to DTN for datetime now. Last digit set time. Sorry, no. I wanted to say digits entered is equal to I think I'm going to say int not done min value. I could say that or 0. Either would have the same, would be functionally equivalent with the code down here. It would both effectively make it so that digits entered was going to equal to as int on the way out. Okay. 10 value, set to 10, so we don't need that anymore. All right, get value. I think get value is simply equal to digits entered now. More like this code. This should be an R0, return 0 right there. And this should just be return digits entered. The return there? What's happening now? Digits entered. Reset value. Digits entered is 0. There's the apply command, getting the value in there. Let's do this. Reset value, let's say it's equal to int dot min value. Then what I want to do is this, is I want to, when I get the get value on here, I want to check to see what the value of that is. If value equals int dot min value, then we want to tell the dungeon master numeric value, set numeric value first. before applying whatever the apply command is. So let's make this an interpolated string. Like that. And then we're going to get out there. Set numeric value first. So the last thing I need is I need like an all clear kind of piece right here. Digits entered. Is this static? It is. Cool. So I want to make reset value. I want to make this static and I want to make this public. We can kill this command right here. Okay. Next, I want a new command. Clear number command. Like that. And it's going to have an execute and it matches. I think the execute all right, the matches is basically going to say return message is equal to clear numbers. So tap the next reference on apply to command. On apply command, see the registration, duplicated paste, come back out. Let's move this to its own file. Now we've got clear numbers in there. Kind of like an all clear button for a calculator. We've got the apply command. Let's build it. Build succeeded. All right. Let's run it. Let's change our UI. Start deleting all of these.
Lickle spit!
Let's see what do we want to do here. I can center these. I had these all off to the side to make them seem further away from the others, and the ones on the other buttons were all kind of aligned more to the left. But now I can fix that. So let's do this. Let's take this one. Hold the command digit, I think. Okay, paste this, paste this, paste this, paste, 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 and paste. Into each space. Oops, I want to put that one. Change this one to 2. 3. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Better be right about that command being digit, right? And then there's 0. So now if I should come and be able to hit 12, 1, 2, I just hit these 2 buttons, and now I'm hitting damage. No, I was hoping that was the case. What did I do wrong? Digit command. That looks good. Substance breakpoint. See what happens here. 1. Digit is 1. You could add digit. Okay, we're going to set it to min value. Digits enters is now 1. And now I'm going to hit the damage button. Get the breakpoint here. Returning 1. Apply damage value of 1. Is it just my player? Apply to all players? Is it a? I wonder if it's a problem with the app itself, not getting the message in. Let me just try to add a gold piece here. Yeah, it's the problem with the app. I think the app needs to be reset. Oh, I haven't initialized player data in the app. That could be why. Let's see if this works. All right, one more time. All right, so let's go into my damage. And we're going to say I want 12 damage. I'll get the second one in. I'm going to try applying the damage. 6 digits in it. It's 12. Nice. Run it. Everybody takes 12. Sweet. Not bad. So we've got a more intuitive UI here. I'm going to say let's add 13 health. 1-3 health. There it is. Plus 13 hit points. That's good. Let's try 200 health. You get 20 or 200. Nice. Got the 200. Sweet. So it got the multiple. Every time I'm hitting a button, it's sending a chat message out, and so I'm getting that chat message. Very cool. So 111 damage. Sweet. That looks really nicely. Cool. All right, kids. I think that's it for today. Had a good time hanging out with you. Let's see who else is out there streaming in the live Cody stream. Send you over to BBB. Tell Michael Jolly I said hi. Boom. All right, kids. See you tomorrow.